Thank you so much for joining us today. Second day, GSEF2021 Global Social Economic Forum. Yay, we're all ladies. I think if a male participant appears, we'll be happy to ask, I don't know, like particularly the question to him. Anyway, thank you so much for being today with us. This is an amazing session. I think the topic of learning for social innovation and transformation is what all of us are interested. So this is great to have all 6 presentations, 7 speakers today. Thank you so much. Let me just introduce you. Our moderator, Valentina Verze. She is now working at the cooperatives unit in the enterprise department of International Labour Organization in Geneva. She was working as project manager and country representative and also project manager. And she has degrees in economics and business, social economy, economics and management of cooperative firms and non-profit organizations. Thank you so much for being with us today. And Valentina, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yun. Thank you so much. And good morning and good afternoon, everyone. So I'm truly glad to be with you all today as 5 days dialogues among different stakeholders from several countries and continents discussing social and solidarity economy as tool to advance more sustainable and inclusive societies. The today's sessions, as Yun was mentioning, would be focusing on learning for social innovation and transformation, and is part of the second day of GSEF 2021 forum dealing with education, learning, and research for social and solidarity economy. Education is a key factor in the construction of new society that allow the reduction of inequalities and finding innovative solutions to today's problems and challenges. It is essential for any cultural and social change, and education is more and more understood as a lifelong process, which encompasses formal and informal learning from early childhood and basic education throughout advanced learning opportunities and paths. Lifelong learning involves more than the skills needed to work. Actually, it is especially about developing the capabilities needed to participate in democratic societies. It offers a pathway to inclusion in labor markets for youth and the unemployed. And it also has a transformative potential. In fact, investment in learning at an early age facilitates learning at a later stage in life and are proved to be linked with a higher level of social mobility among generations and also expanding the choices of future generations. But in terms of social and solidarity economy and education, where do we stand? Why is it even important to speak about social and solidarity economy in educational systems, both formal and informal, and both with specific curricula and with as mainstream subjects, no, or more general ones? So I think that the ongoing problems, the growing inequalities, lack of decent work, and environmental challenges, just to name few, existed way before the current crisis and are now exacerbated by the impact of the pandemic on societies. And we know that it is also uneven in the way it is impacting people. So a number of governments and organizations are calling for the promotion of a new paradigm of production and consumption, of sustainable and inclusive development, and people and planet-centered future work. There is a need of more enterprises and organizations that pursue social objectives, practicing form of democratic governance and encouraging stakeholders' participation with attention to the community in which they operate and factoring in the environment. This is at the base of plural economic systems. So education in all of these is key in order to create awareness and knowledge around this new way of economy and thinking together to find common solutions. So what are the main actions and strategies the different actors can put in place in different countries and local territories in order to advance social and solidarity economy principles and values in school entrepreneurship programs, vocational trainings, and also informal learning paths. This is the key questions that we will try to tackle and answer today, thanks to the experience and the insights of our panelists. So I would say that without any further ado, we should start the discussion with the panel, since we have quite rich and different expertise from Morocco, Croatia, Republic of Korea, and Europe. Certain colleagues working in UK and Spain, but beyond. So it's, as Yun was saying, is a quite mission impossible, since we have 6 presentations and 8 speakers, but I'm confident we can, manage together and be cautious about the time. Each panelist will have 10 minutes for their presentation, and at the end of the day of the session, we hope to have a Q&A session. So I don't know if Roman already is with us. Otherwise, I propose to start with our first speaker, Ms. Davorka Vidovic. Good morning. And she's an assistant professor at the Faculty of Political Science of the University of Zagreb in Croatia. And Ms. Vidovic will speak about action research as a participatory and community-based model for learning for social innovation. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Just a quick check. Do you all hear me well?
Perfectly.
Okay, thank you. So as Valentina, thank you very much for the introduction. As she already mentioned, I work at the Faculty of Political Science, and I want to share with you my experience with a new course that I created last year. So we have just one year of experience of that course. It's about sustainable development and social innovation, and I introduced an action research as a model for interactive learning on that course. So what is action research? For those who are not familiar with that, it's a research method, but not the rigid one. So maybe it's not that much used. It doesn't belong to those common basic research methods usually taught in social science research methodology. So action research is something very participative, democratic, and it combines action and research in terms that it is research. It is conducted to gain some information, to gain some data and knowledge, but it is not conducted on people, but together with people. And action is here because this research gathers some knowledge, some data, but that knowledge is used to make a change. So it's to create some action that will transform a community or a process or a situation in a most for improvement. Sorry. The purpose of action, as I said, is very transformative, and Valentina mentioned transformation as one of the key elements of learning for social innovation. That's why we are talking about, because we want something to be changed. And action research, in my opinion, for social sciences is quite a useful tool that can use the knowledge from the community and to together with other stakeholders create practice that is different from the practice or from behavior done before. In that way, it's very transformative, both for individual who participates in this process and for the community, because it brings something different. It gather a knowledge from the community and together with other participants create a solution to improve current situation, to improve current practice. In that sense, it's very in focus is social justice, but it always, as we will see in the next slide, it always includes, I have problems changing the slide. It always includes community. That's the framework for action research. So it's always about community, no matter how we define that community. It can be defined by territory, by functionality, by identity, and so on. But it always think about all elements in communities. So it's very much inclusive for those marginalized groups, for those excluded groups that are usually not in the power to give their voice or to participate in decision making. So in that sense, action research think about community and all stakeholders or actors who consist that community and wants to reach them and to hear from them, to hear from their experience and to include them in participation about creation the new solution or new practice for a specific problem. So that is where the actual social innovation happens. It happens in community. It doesn't happen often in individual level, and it doesn't happen often at national or higher level of organization of society, because in community is it's like think globally, act locally. That's the locality where change can occur, actually, that where practical things can happen. So it also action research is based on the idea that all we need to know is already consisted in that certain community. So community has the knowledge of what would be better for them, what practice would be would improve life, would include others that are not included, and so on. The basic principle of action research is participation and democratic participation. So it is a group activity, it's a collective activity. It includes different parts, all actors of one community, and it is based on equal participation of all members. They are to be seen, they are to be heard in those processes of action research. So it is particularly important for those marginalized, in less deprived part of community or part of the society. So the role of the researcher is very facilitatory, and it is there to ask, to summarize, to lead the process. So action research in practice may use, it's very, as you can see, it's very some quantitative. You can do surveys, like you can ask questions in form of questionnaires, but often it is about interviews, focus groups, participatory observation, and different types of collecting data. So shortly, what I've done with my students last year, so it was, as I said, the first year of this course, and it was it was not obligatory course, so 36 students applied for that. So they were divided in small groups, 3 students per project, and they were, and we used Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, as a framework for this practical work. So they have whole semester to work on their action research projects, starting from defining a problem. So they needed to recognize what is problem in terms of social needs or unaddressed social needs or ecological needs. And they need to identify community. So who is involved, who is all parts of the community who have some interest or who have some concerns about the situation. And then they start the process of collecting data, talking with parts of community, and agree of getting some consensus or agreement about the improvement that would be beneficial for the community. Then they set some hypotheses about what would be the best way how to improve the situation, set an action plan, and then implement a first step of an action plan, then reflect on that. So the process of action research is very like a spiral. So you are collecting data, then you are applying some innovation, and then you are then reflecting on that steps and making some changes on your way. So last year we have 12 projects, but these are some examples that I wanted to show you how many different things students decided to address through action research. These This small picture is one product of one researcher and students wanted to create a map of zero waste sources that students can be used, but also other things. One group started to introduce vegetarian or plant-based menus in students' canteens. The others install plastic plugs, recycling boxes in students' dorms, and so on. One group, very successful project, they developed a QR code that was used for reporting waste problems in their communities and so on. So I don't know how many minutes I have, so I'm just going fast. We can reflect on this later. So some insights after the first year. For students, it was quite challenging to recognize the community. So mostly they choose students or youth as a community, so dormitory or faculty related. Most common topics are food, energy, waste, responsible consumption, mostly related to fashion or slow fashion. They were very, in an evaluation report, they said that they are very happy with working in team and with practical problems and practical creative work in creating solutions. And also, which is very, very important, they had a sense, they developed a sense for community. So the problems they are perceiving includes other people. So that's something that they don't necessarily had with them. And at the end, what was quite challenging for them is the participatory nature of action research, because it was difficult for them to find and to identify all members of the communities and to approach to them. But they did some very huge steps, communicating with some government representatives or a manager of the dormitories, and already make them participate in that process. So thank you for your attention. This was a short example of how we can use different models in teaching and learning about social innovation. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, Ms. Vidovic. Really interesting also to hear about this experience. I found, especially I believe in nowadays to let research communicate, with the community and also make sure that all the data, the rich amount of information, knowledge that we have is at use, and at the same time it's fed by the community and the students, and also how formal system at such a university can really activate students as a social agent for transformation and change. And also what really captured my attention was the local dimension. Now university is an institution really that is part of the community and the actors that in the city and the community where it's located. So thank you for sharing this. I believe that I think that other panelists will also come back to this participatory approach and community. Speakers will give us an example of communication and the creation of network among different universities, and we go now to Republic. And so let me introduce the second speaker, Young-Mi Kim, Professor Kim, at Sanji University in the Republic of Korea. And Ms. Kim will present the case of the program of leading universities economy education in the Republic of Korea. So please, I give you the floor.
Thank you, Valentina. And I want to directly start my presentation.
Yeah, now perfectly.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm Young-Mi Kim at the Sangji University. I will give a presentation about SSE education partnership of university and government of South Korea. The program on leading universities for social economy education. Hereafter, I will call it LUSSE, L-U-S-S-E. In this presentation, I will show the features of curriculums and actual experience in Sangji University. Sorry. First, let's look at the LUSSE. It is one of partnership between government and universities in fostering collaboration between industry and universities. It started in 2013 as a one-year non-degree course with a budget of $3 million, which now increased to $4.2 million. Ministry of Employment and Labor is funding the program. Korea Social Enterprise Promotion Agency, the national level intermediary and selected universities run the course. Someone might ask why the public has to support SSE education. Currently, SSE is rapidly developing in Korea, but education for SSE is lacking in higher education. As social economy took a different view from conventional economics and management, which assume homo economicus or agency theory, we need different contents and approach in education. In addition, SSE leaders and managers need management competency and practice the social nature of SSE at the same time in conducting social economic activities. In this sense, public's involvement in SSE education will be a catalyst in not only advancing SSE output tools for leaders in SSE field. During last 7 years, a total of 31 universities provided courses on SSE, and almost 2,000 persons showed interest in the course. More than 10,000 people successfully completed the course, and among those, more than 250 attendees carried out internships. Dollars were used, and universities also contributed to the budget as well. Thanks to the LUSSE, we expand SSE education in university and opened over 30 SSE courses, including graduate schools and well-designed lifelong education about SSE. And during the process, universities got more involved in social innovation and SSE. We have tangible outputs as well. First, we built a vast pool of SSE education contents and syllabus and SSE lecturer database. Moreover, we now knew and listed SSE enterprises that could provide internship and training for younger generation. This output is particularly useful for the future. LUSSE curriculums has characteristic features compared to conventional class in universities. It focused on adding, incorporating practices and field exercises in the curriculum. Attendees learn put into practice the theories in workshops, field trips, internships in the actual field. And it cared for the after-course process in diverse ways. First, attendees build online and offline networks which could develop into a community of practices. Second, opportunities for long-term internship and access to social financing and a place for SSA activities were provided to the attendee. In short, Lucy support to increase attendees' involvement in the SSE after the course completion. Now let's talk about Lucy experience in Sangji University. This picture shows attendees' field visit, a part of curriculum in this summer. Before explaining Sangji University and Wonju City. Wonju City with 350,000 population has a strong cooperative tradition, and Sangji University also contributed to the local community in various ways. Based on this tradition, Sangji University joined Lucy. Of 56 persons from 11 municipalities attended the course. The course was mixed remote learning and 4 team seminars, which were held face-to-face with a focus on small business, community care, jobs for young people, and SS in rural areas. In Sangji University, Lucy curriculum was designed to learn and increase capacity building of social entrepreneurs. It trained and coached attendees so they could gain competency in problem solving, SSE management, and collaboration with others. In particular, by incorporating learning by doing feature in the curriculum. Attendees not practiced the knowledges in the actual field in team seminars. It is an important feature of Lucy curriculum in Sangji University. The course construction is different from conventional class. We emphasize the role of coaching in the course. Besides learners and lecturers, there are 2 types of coaches. Assistant coach is supporting the learner, and team coach took a facilitating works in the process. In addition, colleague networking. This is the snapshot of practices, remote learning, team seminars, and discussions in a seminar, and a field trip to SS enterprises in Chuncheon City, Gangwon Province. Finally, I would like to address the challenges of Lucy. Lucy program is certainly encouraging for our SSE education in universities, but we need to go further. First, Lucy curriculums and experience are not fully shared among participating universities. Best practice and will be a good start for open exchange among universities. Second, wider platform building in higher education is in need to facilitate SSE education development. Third, public organization and government and university develop Lucy procedures and models. A collaborative governance is in need, and every stakeholder has to be active in the process. Lastly, we find that there is quite an urban-rural gap in SSE learning, such as a customized camp-type program contribute to ease the gaps and add vitality in the rural community. So this is the end of my presentation about Lucy and Sangji University's experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and also to be so disciplined, both of you, and now about time. Now, I found this very, interesting, especially because, what really struck my attention was university, the support for government, and a kind of pioneer experience. Actually, I just want to share that social and solidarity economy, ILO is currently chairing it and also dealing with the coordinating the technical secretariat. We are currently conducting a mapping exercise on the available trainings and curricula proposed by a variety of institutions around the world. And are observing a positive trend in terms of available training, curricula, specifically tackling. But at the same time, in many countries, it doesn't even exist in different formal education, but also informal ones, and also is absent in the trainings and politicians, economists go out from university, for instance, without even having heard about a cooperative model, for instance, or a legal type, or how we can think about social entrepreneurship in a more collective way. So it really partnership with government and networks of university in the Republic of Korea, it was possible to pilot such a program. And we now move instead to another exciting case at school level. So our fourth speakers are actually two. So Ms. Maribel Dutari, Director of Operation at Social Enterprise International, and Ms. Jen, Social Enterprise International, the same organization. And they will share with us their work at their organization, and at the same time present the case of the school program for ethical enterprise education in the United Kingdom and also other countries, I believe. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Can you hear us well? All good?
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Presentation, we'll try to be very quick, actually, hopefully less than 10 minutes. We'll do a very short introduction of SEI, who we are. We'll talk about social innovation education, and we'll talk about SPEED, which is the project that you just mentioned. Right. So social innovation education, it's a social enterprise that have been talking about social enterprise movement since about 30 years. We basically have aimed to transform businesses and schools and communities to create a sort of different way to do business, to have social enterprises work by thinking the new concepts of how ownership and wealth should be shared. We also have a holistic and innovative approach to transformative nature enterprise and special education, and that's exactly what we will be focusing today. And we're putting this in practice through some of the projects that we have on the pipeline, and SPEED is especially one of them. So now I will pass the floor to my colleague, Ben, who will be talking about social innovation education.
Thanks, Maribel. So yeah, my name's Jen Wall, and I worked on the Horizon 2020 bid that created the educational model of social innovation education through a project called Nemesis. And talk about this at more of a university and research level, because the model we've developed is for primary and secondary education. So I think it would prepare people well for doing this at university level. So what is it exactly? It fosters an attitude and drive in young people that encourages them to co-create with a diverse range of people. So adults from the community, social innovators, social entrepreneurs, parents, anyone who's interested. And they create locally, reduce inequality, and make society fairer and more inclusive. And how they do this is through collective action, where they identify and carry out social innovation action projects in co-creation labs, which I'll explain a bit more about in a moment, with adults to address these issues. Co-creation labs, then, it's any space. It's an open environment. It can be anywhere you like. And it's just when young people and adults get together to identify local community-based challenges, and they think about a project that they would like to create to address those, to transform it in the real world. So it is transformative. And then they address these challenges. The activities in co-creation labs are based on participatory design techniques and has a chance to input to make sure that it is truly collective and collaborative, and it fosters that idea that we're not individuals working on our own in society, but we are all a part of it together. That's just an infographic of how a co-creation lab might look. And so SEI, what it is and what it isn't. Mariabel said that we practice enterprise education in a more innovative, modern, changing, and that is exactly what social innovation education is all about. So you could call it a little bit like social enterprise education or social innovation education. So it is student driven. Students have ownership and autonomy over their projects. We're not telling students what to do. We're facilitating them to do the best that they can. We work alongside the community rather than doing things for them without their involvement, without their consultation. Rather than just one person deciding on it and doing it with other people watching on. We try to foster, engender, and develop a mindset in young people involved in the project so that they can become an agent for change now and in the future. So they take that into whatever they may go into, whether that's career-wise or whether that's just in their free time, but they take that with them into the future. And it isn't being unaware of societal issues. So all of our social innovation projects are linked to and driven by the Sustainable Development Goals to try and tackle these sustainable challenges that we're seeing so much of at the moment. We have redefined children-adult relationships. So it's not didactic learning. It's not teachers telling children what to do. It's totally collaborative. And over time, young people develop social innovation competencies, which we researched and identified through the project to create their own social philosophy that they actually not. I'm not sure what it's like in other countries, but in the UK, it can often be just ticking a box to say we've done this. That is not what this is about. So we have lots of projects all over Europe. Because the Horizon project took place in 7 countries in Europe, and we actually now are scaling it in a new Erasmus project in 4 more countries. In the UK, for example, to become a base for social, emotional, mental health. And I won't read through all of these because of the time, but in Spain, for example, they totally decorated and redid their playground and their school area because it was very grey, and they wanted it to be a more inclusive, playful area that could support young people's well-being. This is a summary of the benefits that we identified in the evaluation report, with young people feeling valued, a sense of belonging with their school community and their local community, feeling empowered because we listened and we heard and we acted on that, or any of the stakeholders involved, and feeling that they were proactive, that they had agency in actually not only actually put that into practice. And this is one of the innovations that is the basis for the SPEED project, which I'll hand back over to Mariabel, and she's going to talk to you about that.
Thank you. I think I have about 2 minutes, so I'll be very quick. That's okay, yes. So basically, taking into account all of those amazing concepts and how social innovation education wants to basically make a society more fair and fairer through transformative and social. So give something else that would take all those change agents, all those students that will be becoming change agents, and then give them tools and a mindset and knowledge and capabilities to create then social enterprises with that. So that's why it has a little bit of a business focus, but not business as usual. It's within the social and solidarity economy concepts of creating a. Add to that the new concepts and the new vision that Social Enterprise International has created, which is called shared wealth, and it basically it defines wealth not just with money, but anything that the social enterprise want to call it wealth, and how that wealth should be shared fairly through everyone that actually contributes to that creation of wealth, and also the decision making part of it, which is also has to be again very participatory and collaborative, and everyone has to be involved, and etc. And so another factor there as well is that students are able to use Loco-Soco eco-friendly products. So Loco-Soco, it's a company, and it's a vision in which they work. They only work with eco-friendly, sustainable products, and then create community-based social enterprises. And in this part of just creating these projects. This is a picture of the school in Exdale in England, where they are again learning about how to create a social enterprise, selling these products, these eco-friendly products, and then as well usually having a environmental and a side environmental project that they will then focused on the environment as well. Then the idea is for this project to then be replicated into other countries, such as Croatia, Germany, and Greece, which is part of the SPEED project. And we do have to say, which is I'm sure is the case for many projects here, but COVID has had an impact with this project as well. And well, now that this academic year is starting again, they're gonna basically start again and should be fine. Very quickly, one of the impacts of the SPEED project has had is basically a bit more of what Jen already said within the social innovation education. It has an impact on people because students feel empowered and they want to make a difference. It has an impact on the mindset of how such a social enterprise business mindset works. So students that are not really part of it are also being interested and want to learn about how to run a business. Again, a social enterprise. Their parents, their community are thinking a lot more into using eco-friendly products and thinking of the environment and thinking on the impact that we have on the environment normally. And this one in particular has had an impact as well on academia because it has driven the more research projects and studies that will be as well happening within the school. So Social Enterprise International is proud to be affecting change through the to the social and solidarity economy. We can answer any questions that people may have after this. These are our emails. We'll put a little QR code, might be easier to scan. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And also just to mention that we will share the PowerPoint so everyone can have access to the information and so on. But what I got excited about was that everyone in the room, now in the virtual room was kind of really saying, you know, empathizing with this example, and I saw the work, you know, that before presented the case in university, and how dots are connected. That, by the way, is our next speaker from CDOT. But what also was me is the co-creative, the co-creation approach, and how is not only about activation of youth, but also the one concept that I was referring to before. So creating really capabilities for citizens, future citizens, actively in the society. So is the economy that so economic business that is then serving the common. Thanks so much for sharing this program, and also I hope that you will be in contact then with the and we move now to our next speaker and panelist, Sun Kyung Han. I hope I'm pronouncing well. Founder of the CEO and CEO of CDOT, so Connecting the Dots, in the Republic of Korea, and also she will speak with her colleague Julie, who is impact manager in the same organization. And the idea of transition campus for a sustainable future, offering a new learning approach to social innovation. So please.
Thank you so much, Valentina. So I will speak now.
The only thing, there is an echo.
Yes, we figure out now. Is it okay, everyone with
Perfect.
me? Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening here, and probably the good morning and good afternoon somewhere else. I'm honored to present today with the great speakers and also wonderful moderator. And I'm Sang Kyung-han of the CDOT. Today, I'm going to talk with my colleague, Julie. Julie?
Hi, I'm Julie, and I'm working as an impact manager, as introduced, and I'm so glad to meet you all today.
So we are going to talk about our new project, Future Transition Campus today, which we carry out the research efforts and design it and test it with other partners. And before we going into the detail, we want to talk a little bit about ourselves. So as the Valentina introduced us as Connecting Dots, we have been working for 8 years to catalyze social innovation in Asia, including Korea, by connecting social connection and knowledge. And recently, we set our direction more clearly for the systemic change. So our platform we create for the connection and exchange and learning is shifted the direction for the systemic change. The project we are going to talk today. So this is agenda today, and the Future Transition Campus is a new learning approach for transition towards a sustainable future. I repeatedly mentioned the 3 words, Future Transition Campus. Is actually the telling all the stories I'm talking to you today. Talk a little bit about the background and also the context why our team thinking about why Future Transition Campus needed at this moment. The human being and we all have been suffering from the many social problems such as poverty and climate crisis and also power inequality and etc., which the market economy was caused, I think. But last year, especially, everyone here living in the world under COVID-19 crisis, we haven't never had in the before. This crisis forced us to reflect the ourselves, human being, and other people, and also nature and technology. And also we had to reflect about the system we are living in. And under the circumstance, we also witness social inequality is more worsen and worsen. And also we realize that the vulnerability of the global cooperation structure as well. And we have the qualified system for coexistence. And sometimes due to the lack of the global citizenship, the situation becomes more serious and worse. But under COVID-19, nevertheless, we also find out, especially last year from the GSEF forum, the social solidarity now expected to play a much larger role in COVID-19 response in terms of rebalancing efficiency and resilience throughout the economy. So our team, our partner, strongly agree that it is a very critical time that social economy and social solidarity economy organizations need to develop their capability to innovate towards a more ecological civilization for the sustainable life. So this canvas is aiming at developing the thriving society for everyone under this long-term emergency era. To make that happen, we offer the core capability for the transition to the people working in the different sectors, including the citizen sector as well. And here, we carried out the research about the current social innovation and also economy education program, and also research and development in Korea and outside. According to, or based on our research, we define 3 core capability for the future. The first one, as you can see in the slide, system thinking. And second one is a future literacy. And third one, so we can diagnose the problem through the system thinking. And also we can use our social imagination capability for the future. And also we can draw, we can also write the new narrative and story with our community and teams. So as you can see in this slide, the 3 emerging practice can bring the change on relationship and perspective and knowledge creation. For the relationship, actually the people can understand the complex interdependency on the relationship between people and us, etc. And also for the perspective, we can have a more long-term perspective for the future. And third one is about the knowledge creation. In the past, only the experts or academics create the knowledge for everyone. But through this new way of the knowledge creation, we can work with the other citizens to create a new story. And based on that, we can create a new information knowledge, and it can lead to the new actions for the future. So with these 3 emerging practices, we designed a 6-week fellowship program with a new learning approach. And our partner, Happy Bridge Mondragon, and also our research wonderful partner, Documentary Labs, have been working together. So for the details, my colleague Julie will continue from now on. Julie, would you like to start?
I really appreciate the kind introduction, and I will continue to present. Upon the results of the first stage of the empirical research, we've done the pilot test with the theme of imagination of 2050 Seoul City, considering climate crisis. And we've invited the local activists and university students and social innovators who have 5 to 7 years experience. Because we wanted to create the collaboration and promote community-based networking with a social purpose. Specifically, we've tried to collectively investigate food life, health life, working life, and caring life. And we've done this experiment for 6 weeks, as Sung-Kyung told, and offering the guide of system thinking and analysis, and how to build up the future scenario together, and the opportunity to draw the storytelling with team members. Teamwork and horizontal collaboration are very important factors in learning and doing experiments or projects, and co-produce the outcomes indeed. These pictures show what we've done during the program, including social networking and interactions using a lot of activities. And this is the outcomes, kind of participant. Actually, we call them fellow. After the program, they are saying, learn the importance of teamwork and new leadership. And it was a safe and comfortable place for networking with the people in different fields as we share the same purpose for the society and enjoy the learning the new approach to problem solving and so on. And these are throughout the pilot test, we verify the high visibility and effectiveness of the campus program, but still, probably there are some points that should be developed further. So next step, now we are setting up another experiment in Ulsan. Ulsan is the local city and famous for heavy industry, but now the economy has gone into the decline. So they are focusing on social innovation and social and solidarity economy to revitalize the economy there. Accordingly, we will take a deeper look into the importance and effectiveness for social business planning and solutions by attending the continuous experiment. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Song-Kyun and Julie, for sharing this experience and imagining more sustainable future with students. One thing for me is an element of reflection is that, piloting, experimenting is so important, especially in social innovation. Many times piloting and experimenting something we are not so used. So to have this kind of mindset, to also be open for failure and testing and is really proving to be, rewarding in the long run. And also the fact to really work in partnership with many actors, including, all the actors you mentioned, from government to private sector, civil society organization. So thank you again for sharing. We now move, I think, to our last but not least panelist, because I think that the other problem, so she couldn't join us, but we will be happy to share a presentation afterwards so that also everyone can have the contact in the case of Ms. Roman, who was supposed to speak about a case in Morocco. But to Ms. Sofia Munoz Fernandez, who is a sociologist working in education projects at REDE, ethical and social finance. So a different perspective and angle there in Spain. And Mr. Fernandez will speak about the ethical finance education as a tool for transformative economies for a green and inclusive future. The floor is yours, Sofia.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity to share our proposal of the network called REDEFES, which is a network on education and ethical and solidarity finance. My name is Sofia. Which is an organization that promotes ethical finance in Catalonia in Spain. And it's one of the organizations that promoted this network alongside with Finanzas Aratago, Oicocredit Catalunya, and Fundación Finanzas Éticas. To put in place, we believe that we are in and as our colleagues said, after the COVID, we are in a serious ecological crisis and the global inequality, enormous levels of poverty and social exclusion, which are especially among women in the global south. And alongside with this, we have an economic education in the formal schools that which hide the impacts on people and in the planet of the current economic system and the financial system, leaving aside other economic perspectives and approaches, such as the feminist economic approach or the ecological, and as well the alternatives, such as like SSE or ethic finance. Besides, we have right now diverse organizations on ethical and solidarity finance that show that another economy is possible. Therefore, we believe another model of economic education is also possible and urgent. Excuse me, I have to 2018, we started the Network Education on Ethical and Solidarity Finance, REDEFES, which brings together people, mainly teachers, but also organizations and platforms that promote critical economical education on ethical finance as a promoter for an economy that places in the center people and planet. That economy that doesn't only think about the economic benefit, positive impact. And how we work this from a transformative education approach, which means that we try to contribute to demystify from the theory and the practice preconceived concepts of the economy. So basically the idea is to bring the tools that allow young people to go from a critical approach on banks and the financial system and the alternatives that exist, like the ethical finance, but at the same time promoting a local action, promoting a social participation, with the change of their behaviors and attitudes that can be with a responsible consumption of their money, of their savings and their investments, but not only, also thinking of a local action as a social participation in your community, right? Okay, so then in 2018, this is a little bit the history of the network. With some organizations, we had some experience working with teachers and students. And in 2018, we decided to do a workshop where teachers and organizations, ethic finance and transformative education organizations worked on the necessities of the teachers and the schools to be able to introduce ethical finance and transformative economies. And the main necessities that arise in these workshops were the necessity of access to resources, pedagogical resources, methodologies, experiences, and contact with the people who are working in this. This is why this was like the beginning of the network, of the network REDEFES. And then in 2019, alongside with the World Social Forum, the theme on transformative economy and organizations on ethic finance and transformative education, but on a global scale. And we worked on the objectives and the goals that the network REDEFES should have. So in this sense, like the main goal was to facilitate a space that puts together pedagogical and methodological resources which incorporate the analysis of social, economic, and environmental impacts of the financial system, but as well alternatives, the transformative education on ethical and solidarity finance. In this sense, in the end, at the end of 2019, we published the website of the REDEFES, which I'm sorry because it's in Spanish, it's an image, so I couldn't translate, but it's only explaining the different sections of the website. We have on one side the resources, a space for researching the resources, where there's pedagogical resources addressed to any target group, like it can go from secondary school to university, formal school and non-formal school. There's also a section for debate, a section for news about education and ethic finance, and then a section that I will explain a little bit now, it's called experiences, which are practices, pedagogical practices with schools and professors and students. So in that sense, it gives a deeper insight of what is ethic finance and economic transformative economies. Here there's like an example, 4 examples of a methodology we're using called service learning, that it's about working for at least a trimester for. And the idea is that a social organization of the community goes to the classroom and shares their expertise, and then the students will give you back a project, right? In our case, we promote ethic finance, so we teach what is ethic finance. We go with them to see different organizations financed by the ethic finance, and then usually they do some project on sense. And now I'm finishing now, just to say that in the 2020, we had the World Social Forum on Transformative Economies, which had to be online, of course. And in that moment, we organized a workshop called Thinking on Economic Education Model and the Proposals, which was a chance to share with the different resources to work ethical finance in a formal and non-formal education, and as well as a chance to share experiences, educative experiences. And then later on in the 2021, in this January, we had a mapping of experiences, this type of experiences, but in a global scale. And the latest thing we've been working on to promote economic education in a critical, pluralistic, and ethical way. Since right now in Spain, they are trying to change the education planning on finance for all the formal education, which is promoted alongside conventional banking, or only exclusively. That's why we believe it's not critical, it's not pluralistic. Signatures for this campaign. And this is all. I tried to be very fast. I hope I managed.
Yeah, you managed very well. I have to say this panel was the most disciplined that I've ever been in. So yeah, I believe that I would like really to have a look to the mapping that you, at the global level, that you were mentioning. So if you can share afterwards, I would be really happy to have a look to it. But what I really found interesting also is the kind of top-down, bottom. They work in a sense of importance of advocacy and influencing policy making, and this from promoting formal and informal education as a tool for transformation. So I found quite interesting this approach you are proposing. And since we are now at the end of our first part of presentation, and we have a bit of time still, I really would like to ask a question more personal to all of you. That is related to why you chose to work in the sector, your organization, and also, in the experiences that you were sharing, in your opinion, what are the elements that really can summarize somehow how to boost social innovation and be replicable? Because this is also one of the challenges that since it's so community-based and local and with clear identity, how to replicate it. And I'm not speaking about scaling up, I think, for this exact reason. So Davorka, if you want to start with your thoughts, I'm sorry. Then we can, just a couple of minutes, 1 minute, just your insights.
Well, why I started to work on this. I'm involved in research on social enterprises and social entrepreneurship. So for me, it was quite important to develop a course that is a bit broader, encourage all those kind of what we mentioned several times, creating a social agent and educating and encouraging students to become social agents. For me, it's very important to teach something not in a classical teacher students front line teaching, but to work together with them to get them, to encourage them to take a role in that real life and to feel the power to change things on their own. So for me, in teaching them in other ways. So for me, that's the most important thing. And how to boost social innovation and make them more replicable. I don't know. Huge tool that we have in hands, and we can do, and maybe to encourage some sort of partnership with technology, I don't know, accelerator hubs and so on, to teach students to maybe use the technology for social change, for addressing social needs, and then those changes audience and global beneficiaries included. A very rough the subject.
Thank you, Davorka, for your thoughts. And Ms. Kim, what's your opinion on this one?
Oh, I wonder, Valentina's question, but I think that social innovation fosters from urgent needs of living people and organization. So I'm a cooperative researchers, and also experience to care my daughters with consumer cooperatives members. So we got our consumer cooperatives organized sustainable consumption, and 2012 I know terms of cooperatives are enterprises with your soul at the site. So after then, I study and pursue what's the cooperative nature to promote innovation collectively. That's my research question, and I think that cooperatives was and social innovations, and in innovation, psychological confidence in organization and reciprocity is very important to promote social innovation. And about my presentation, emphasize one thing. In COVID-19, is a huge social disaster, and in the disaster, social and economic equality is more expanding, and this is might be true in SSE education, because while small business, essential workers, lots of vulnerable people lost their job, is in financial difficulties, and in rural residents have opportunities of lifelong education in universities. So how these people can participate in learning of SSE, overcoming distance, lack of time and money. In this context, and supportable partnership and collaboration between universities, government, intermediate, like CDAT organization, a very fantastic program they shows to me, to us, and local community is very needed. So I think this is very important to me, and in rural city in South Korea. Yeah, so I'm sorry.
No,
I'm not,
thank you. Thank you for this answer. And we now go to the UK with Maria Belle and Jen.
Hi, thanks. So first, I used to be a secondary school teacher, and I decided to work in this field because what I was seeing in secondary school wasn't really representing where I thought education should be, or enough education on sustainability and critical thinking. So I wanted to get into enriching the UK education, which is good, but I wanted to enrich it from another perspective, and I'm doing that through social enterprise with the projects that we provide to schools. For me, the key elements that can boost social innovation, and my perspective is always through education, because that's my field of expertise. Two things really. One thing is that young people don't accept that they can't make a difference in, but they have hands-on practical experience so that they can see that they can be part of that. And also, I've loved hearing about how it's happening. Like, I've loved hearing from all of you today about how it's happening on so many different levels and in so many different fields. And I think it's important that we make sure that that is joined up and connected, so we're not all doing things without understanding how what we do in primary and secondary school, that's going to impact people when they're at university or when they're in the community, or need to make sure that that is all connected so that we are joined up in our approach. That's my opinion anyway.
I think I can just add my experience. When I was in school, I had the opportunity to be part of an enterprise education project where we created a business and we just sold, and it was basically business as usual. And that I am in this industry or in this part of the economy, which is again has a different focus as a social environmental focus. Important if we can teach or allow students to know that there is other types of just entering this other the other way of thinking of solving issues, solving social or environmental issues, and then creating products or services that then can be sold as well, but have a the purpose which they are doing it is much more important than the money that they create with it. So money that comes with it, something additional, but it's not the main focus. I think that mentality of business is actually very, very good and very different. And at the same time, they become, and I think the new generations will already have that kind of ingrained. We can see how Greta Thunberg and all these new generations, they're starting to be a lot more active and wanting to be part of the grown-up discussion. Allow them through education in their classrooms, and either formal or informal, as we have said, just give them that platform so that their voice can be heard, and they can become and be the change agents that I think will already be in their blood. All right, thank you.
Let's go to C. Republic of Korea, our colleagues.
I will explain. Experiences like I worked in the private sectors, like mass production society, but I feel like I was kind of the government decided, because I thought the society never changed if the government has dominated to solving some problems. So I thought there is an opportunity to change the society in the first place. But when I just work in the Sira, and then I just met the people who are actively work in this sector, social and social economic sector, to change the society. And then I saw the hope. to change the society, and especially for my kids. I know the change it will take a long time. So even though we just said we need urgent transition, in reality, it will take a long time to change the whole society system structure things. But so if I cannot change the society now, but if we just try to change the society, then probably for the kids, there should be different. So that's why I'm just working in this sector. So I was to produce a lot of the product as much as they want, as quick as they want. I mean, the society, but the society should be changed. Now thinking about the humanity and then civilization and so on. This is what I just try to work on.
Can I add a little bit? And I'm very happy to hear that what my colleague Julie shared how she decided to work in this sector. So adding to her the story, actually definitely I had a lot of story why I engaged in this sector, but I also was very fascinated with the story of the innovators and social enterprise, because they are not just having a wonderful story itself, but kind of heart they have for the society. And also they also are very much humbled to share their vulnerability when they talk about the successful story as well. So as a connector and catalyst, I'm very much into that, how we can connect these stories and through the story how we can make it bigger. So these days, we are working toward a little bit more the systemic change. So we want to create storytelling, and I'm sure that the story each of us creating here, and also the story the people we met through the work can somehow influence on creating a new narrative and also a bigger collective story as well. So that's why I'm still stay in this sector. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Sophia, please.
In case, I've always been involved in transformation, but I do believe that right now the economic system, but mainly the financial system, is core. No, it's very important and has a deep impact on all the social and environmental negative impacts we see constantly. No, so I do believe that the transformation of that is a big boost, no, for the social justice. And also I believe that education is it's not the most important, or I believe it's the deepest and long-term way of transformation. That's why I and besides, also, I think you were asking as well about how to boost innovation and make it replicable. I didn't have time to say it in the presentation, sorry, but in the website Redefes, what it tries to do is help working in the educational field to be able to replicate experiences or education activities that they can do in their own classroom or in the field they are working. I think that working alongside with teachers and the organizations who are involved in their daily work to carry out their work is a way of boosting this innovation. No? Her presentation, that transformation happens in the community. It's it's in that space. We hope Redefes is helping that community.
Oh, thank you for this round of answers. I noted that some of the key words you use among these is passion, fill the gap, be inspired and inspire, and be a catalyst. Education is hands-off. to really catch the attention and activate youngsters to the use of technology, partnerships, and collective action to be able to really boost the social innovation and also inclusion of vulnerable people becoming themselves, empowering themselves, and being the one be active from their side. And then just one thing, because I believe we are here today at GSEF Forum, and many of you mentioned connecting the dots, the importance of creation of platforms, sharing of information, and so on. I believe that forum like this is, the main purpose. So thank you to GSEF for these efforts. And I propose, if you are with me, just to conclude this, question of the forum, but as a tweet. So very, very short. I'm challenging you until the end. The question of the forum is what should be the action or strategies of individual governments, groups, societies to achieve a better and more inclusive world? What key actions should be promoted from the local level? Because for us, so really a round of table, and then we can perhaps conclude. So.
This question is really complex. It's like for a very wide study. Yeah, if I need to be, for me, it's to do things together, to maybe promote a collaboration of different kinds are the key, because these social and environmental challenges could not be solved by a single person, by individual. So be somehow promoted.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kim. You are muted. You should unmute.
Yeah, sorry.
No, don't worry.
Yes. I want to say, in my university and community situation, aged society over the population. In the crisis of COVID-19, we are suffering in SSE education, the interaction among participants. Remote learning take geographic constraint away among participants in the remote learning. I think developing learning system or a kind of new learning method is very kind for vulnerable people, including seniors in rural communities, very needed in our situation, and our next action. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, Maria Bell.
So from my educational perspective, I would say that the UK's system is very knowledge rich, and to make society better and more inclusive, we would need a more broad and balanced skills rich curriculum that's how to identify, tackle and address social issues through education.
To foster as part of curricular. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Julie.
So my colleague Julie will answer about the question. I passed on her.
I think it is I can give it a very similar perspective, like multidisciplinary collaboration is initially needed, because Korea is a kind of the silos dominant the government structure. So probably this made us stop moving forward to a better world. Making process should be turned upside down, like from the top down to the bottom up. So probably it would require the horizontal integration strategies, gathering essential knowledge on various fields in order to deal with the very complex and wicked social problems, I think. And of the future transition campus, it's like in the process of drawing the future together, and a common understanding and goal will be achieved all together. So collective action will occur. So we think that there is a need for a co-creation process in which various and do experiments together and produce outcomes together and manage it together. So togetherness is a very important keyword for us.
So we are getting in line. Sophia, please.
Yes, yes, I have some topics, and I would only insist in promoting a critical and pluralistic and ethical education in economics, in formal and non-formal school, but especially in formal schools. Yes, basically that.
So now what I will try to do after these will be to try to, condense it in a tweet so that then Yoon asked, can post, a bit the concept that came in a very short manner from this session, but I believe that co-creation, pluralistic economy, education is a long life learning process and inclusive process. So let's try our best. But then I really want to thank you all the speakers today for sharing their experience, and really best of luck to inspire and get inspired by others. And thank you, Yoon, Leonor, and all the team of GSEF for the organization. So I leave this to you to manage, Yoon, the conclusion and the picture.
Okay, Leonor, could you give us I don't know, is 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3? In Korea, it's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, do you say in Korea we say 1, 2, 3? Ah, okay, good. No, we'll do that. Yeah. Thank you very much, Leonor. Actually, she's supporting us from Portugal and I don't know. She's from Portugal, but based in Barcelona. So great, support. Thank you so much. So part of this women dominant. Sorry, I don't like the word dominant. Women layered session. Thank you so much. Driven. Great, Valentina, you're best. So we all other leaders, pioneers. Thank you so much. I really hope that you don't feel a bit. Please don't be my friends are watching on YouTube. It is directly shared still on GSEF2021.org website. So the idea is that we'll also record the session and share our GSEF YouTube channel and on our website. So the idea is to disseminate and share people beyond today. Okay, thank you so much. This is time and place where we can see each other, get alone, and all together we can make things happen. Thank you so much, and stay connected. Wish you a great day. Stay tuned. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. It was really great.
Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution, Valentina.
Bye-bye.
Bye.